Hey, everybody. Welcome back to ACES53. Today, we have a special joker. What's a joker? A joker is someone with a special skill or talent that we want to be able to share with you guys. And so today we have Ronda Vaughn. And I met Ronda. Sorry, I'm putting on my do not disturb here. Met Ronda about a year ago she's part of a group called BDC or Black Diamond Club. And I spoke at one of their events, and she was just an absolute joy to hang out with. So not only does she like old fashions, which makes her cool in my book, but what was interesting is she's a chiropractor. And when you think, okay, well, that's just somebody who that's all I do is crack backs and things for people who are ignorant. There's way more than that. But
they don't just crack backs.
What's that?
They don't just crack backs.
They don't. No, they'll do necks and knuckles. You know, they're very versatile like that.
Yeah. Have you seen the ones that do dogs? I'm sorry, I'm getting you off subject.
So I met somebody this past week who they do horses. And what I heard is like you almost have to take like a sledgehammer for that one, because we were hanging out with some people who have horses in a barn, and they were talking about there is chiropractic for horses and different animals, and it's nuts. But being really ignorant before I'd ran into this group and met Ronda was I thought, okay, it's just like any brick and mortar store. You just go get a certification, you open up a store, people come to you. And what was really interesting is to know that no, some people do that. But I met this group of people who they were all into coming and attending sales seminars and marketing seminars to learn how do they really expand their business. And that's why she's such a perfect fit for this particular episode is what are we talking about in 2024 is how to become the authority in your industry. But then Ronda took it a step further and she read the book, Book Yourself Solid. So we kind of hinted.
Are you going to take all her thunder away or are you going to leave anything?
Well, I'm just going to explain why she's here. And so she read the book, Book Yourself Solid.
She's here because we think she's a value for our people. That's why she's here.
Yeah, that's true. But then she took a step further. And so we'll let her talk about not just reading the book and putting into practices, but where she's at today. So with that being said, let's bring in Ronda.
Hi, guys.
Hello. How you doing, Ronda? Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you, too.
Thank you for joining us today. So you kind of heard a little bit about why we brought you on, but what I kind of left as the teaser is you didn't just read the book and you're not just a chiropractor, but what else did you get into after you read the book?
So I accidentally became a coach. I started teaching other people how to become
a coach.
I say accidentally because it wasn't in my plan. Right. So I joined BDC where I met Brian to grow my chiropractic practice. My kids are older and I had a lot of life changes. I was getting a divorce and I liked a double income home and I was going to become a single income home. So I needed to be a double income home on my own. And I wanted to build my practice. I'd been in practice 17 years, I think. And when I did it, I found out I was pretty good at all the Book Yourself Solid techniques. And I started a group called, I think, Brian, you actually met my Gang of Five in Miami. I started a group called Social Oak. And in the last 6 months, we have grown to 24 Social Oaks across the United States. And I've coached other businesses to grow their own community in their community. So it was never on purpose. I went to go build my practice and ended up starting another career.
So what are these groups that you started? What are they? Are they on Facebook? What are we talking about?
So it's called an always have something to invite people to. And it is a way to grow your own community. The theory behind it is I created an event every month with my ideal client. So every month I have a group of women. I joke. So as a chiropractor, my ideal client, her name's Ashley and she's 33 years old. She drives a white Tahoe and has 2 kids. And every third Thursday of every month, Ashley wants to drink Prosecco with other Ashleys. So I joke, I don't have to market to men because most men come to me because their wife sent them. Gotcha. Men don't make the healthcare decisions. So every month
So what you're saying is we wait till the last minute.
And even when you do, your wife still made the appointment for you.
Not all of us are that way.
Most. I would say that in 20. Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say but the fact that you knew who your niche was, who your perfect client was, is huge. That is the biggest thing for most people they don't do in business. They don't know who their client is, who's their perfect client. I have 3 different perfect clients, and then a lot of people go, you can't have that. You can only have one. No, I have a unique market to where mine is a veteran, and I won't get in all the way down. And my other one is a, reverse mortgage. And the other one is a business owner, because those are very unique situations for each person to get what they needed. And so they're niched down for each of those markets. So
exactly. So for the events, So for the events, I started having these events in my office and quickly outgrew my space. So then I created my gang of 5, and it's 4 other business owners. I stick with women because, again, our events are women only. And I have 4 other women business owners who have the exact same ideal client. And now every month we have an event with anywhere, depending on our location, because we can't fit enough people in them, 50 to 200 women. And the cool part is, go ahead, Brian. Did you have a question?
When you get
he just was thinking we'd get in trouble if we did that.
Yeah.
Just for men.
Once we come back, and I want you to explain this group, because this is how you continue to grow. But what I would like you to cover is how many chiropractors surround you, because I think that's a big part of your story. Is it's not like you're the only one in your town. And so how did you become the chiropractor, and then you start growing these events as well?
Right. So Michigan, when I was in school, Michigan was the 3rd most populated state of chiropractors. So you can turn left, you can turn any direction out of my office, and within probably 3 minutes, find a chiropractor. So they're everywhere in the area. Because I market to women, I became known for pregnancy. I have extra certifications in pregnant women and breech babies. So that was, I think, how it first started. But honestly, I think that I became better known having these events because I'm the cool kid having a party every month.
Right. Oh, and that's what I wanted you to share is it wasn't like you were the only chiropractor. You found out once you went to school, you got the certification, you got the degree, but then you found out you were surrounded by your competition. And so you went in and you had to specialize. You're not just a chiropractor, but then you got specialized, like you said, for helping women with it. But then you're like, okay, well, that helps a little bit. But once you grow outside of your building and thought, okay, it's not just how do I get people in my door, but how do I create experiences for people as well, that led to even more things. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, and not just the experience. Honestly, when I have these events, like you said, people just think we crack backs and necks. And by the way, I have adjusted a dog before. I've never adjusted a horse. But people think that's what we do, and we're scary. People are scared to meet us. So you're meeting me at an event where last week we made meal prep basically in salads in a jar. So you're meeting me as Rhonda making salads right next to you,
right?
Not as the scary chiropractor. So you get to know, like, and trust me. And not only that, a lot of the people in the room already are patients, know, like, and trust me. And I don't even have to sell myself because they're doing it for me.
Yeah. And a lot of people, because I'm surprised you didn't know that, Brian, but I know chiropractors are everywhere, just like mortgage people are everywhere. Real estate agents are everywhere. Every business, so many of them, you need to come to the top. And so you need to be that authority in your industry. And that's why we do this, is because I think a lot of people don't realize how they become better is by that authority part. And once you become that authority, there's only one caveat to all this. When you become too much of an authority, you can potentially lose clients. Yes. Have you seen that happen yet? So you're probably going, what? I don't have that problem.
Tell me what you mean.
Because, well, here's the example. I'm on radio, so people think I know what I'm talking about because I'm on radio. And then I have my book come out, then I went on documentary. Well, I'll talk on radio, and then somebody will call the office, and I'll call them. And they're like, I didn't think you were going to call me. Thinking somebody, so that you're a celebrity is somebody, right? Whoever that is. But some people, I saw this on Instagram the other day, a real estate agent was like, I'm losing business from people who think I don't want to handle their transaction because their transactions are smaller numbers. The reason I'm on Instagram is to get your business. I want to help everybody. And that's the only thing is, so when you become the authority, you got to market and let people know, hey, I'm still here for you. I'm just doing all this stuff so I'm here for you. And I think a lot of people lose out on that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. People start to think you're too busy for them, or you're not taking, like for me, new patients, or for you, new clients, and that you're not going to go out of your way and be who you put yourself out there to be. I see that.
Yeah.
What about how, and as I mentioned before I met you guys, and actually the very first place I met any of the BDC people was at the private speakeasy in Arizona. And then when you guys in Miami at the marketing event.
I was at that one.
You were?
That's right.
Yeah, in Arizona. Yeah.
In Arizona.
Oh, I wasn't
at the
at
private
that
one.
one.
Yeah, that one was a very small, 40 people max. And before that, my only experience with it was my ex went to the joint. And that's so it. How do you first, when you meet someone, do you overcome the generic chain philosophy, right? First, to explain how you're different. Now, you did mention what you specialize in, but what was that? It was like, so you're not just having to market against other chiropractors, but against almost like the Costco of what your industry is, right? Where people know the big name and they think, oh, okay, well, I'll just go there because then I can go to all these different locations. How did you start that? And then what's been the biggest takeaways from having these groups? You mentioned it was third-party referrals, right? You already have people who are there who know you and trust you. What else has throwing these events? Because obviously you didn't just keep it in your area. You mentioned, did you say 24 across the U.S.?
So that's more my coaching career where that took off.
Okay.
So for the marketing in my area, I would say one, I mean, I have a t-shirt and I am okay saying this now. I am not for everyone. So I am nothing like the joint, and I'm glad the joint is here because the people that are going to the joint probably aren't the people I want in my office. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but they probably aren't going to like me. So I think that's the biggest thing. I have a lot of tattoos and I swear a lot, and I don't think they do that at the joint. But I keep it real in who I am, and I'm not for everybody, right? So I think the difference is that I'm marketing to who I am for. And these events are the people who, ironically, I just said I have tattoos and swear a lot, but I'm marketing to moms with kids, and that's who I see. So, but I think that's the difference is the joint. That's not who they see, right?
Yeah.
It's a family wellness place. That's my back hurts. Can you pop my back? And I want to leave and never talk to you again. I have relationships with the people that I have. So I think that's probably the difference. And as far as the social oaks growing, what I found out is when I started this, we duplicated it and I did it in the city over. And then I coached somebody in a couple cities over and who is not actually, she's actually a horse massage therapist. So horses get massaged too.
Right.
But I started duplicating it and showing other business owners how to do the same thing in their community and grow their own for their ideal client. Now, if your ideal client, like I'm not going to be able to, I mean, I could help Ed, but I don't have the events for veterans necessarily. However, I did start a social oak gents. So there are 4 men's chapters so far. Delray, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Denver, and Detroit.
I almost hit up
by the way, there are female veterans.
No, I know, but I'm saying, okay, that's fair.
There's a lot of them, a lot of female veterans who, one, they need help, and 2, they're looking for connections. So
yeah,
it might be something to look into.
Yeah, I think I would totally be good with that.
I did hit up your Tampa counterpart when I was there last weekend, but he said he was so busy with clients that he couldn't come to the event I was going to. So that is a testimonial to success, or he hates me. It's one or the other.
No, I don't think Case would hate you. He's great. But yeah,
not everybody likes you, Brian.
Really? What's not to like about Brian?
It's just like Rhonda says, she's not the cup of tea for everybody. You're not the cup of tea for everybody.
Exactly. Now I don't
curious. Know who doesn't like you, but
you had the chiropractor, you started the events, you helped other people do it. You use the book yourself solid method. And one of the things you mentioned for people who haven't read it yet is finding your ideal clients is what they call the red rope policy, right? So if you go to a club or anything like that, who are you going to let in? Who do you want to let in? So it's not always about money. And for people who don't know, there's often a sticker shock that comes along with chiropractic that they probably don't understand when they first come in. But what made you want to take a step even beyond all of those things to also become a book yourself solid coach?
Again, I kind of joke at my coach always says expect the unexpected. And I think that's kind of what happened. I enjoy doing this. I love working with people. I love chiropractic and I don't see that going anywhere in my future. I'll always be able to have my practice, but working with other business owners and seeing their success makes me really happy.
Awesome.
I think so. That's why I became the Book Yourself Solid coach. I also, and I mean, I'll be honest, selfishly, I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And so for
Why
people
you
who don't
moving?
know, I joined the Book Yourself Solid Facebook group, which Rhonda comes in and she does videos and kind of talks to us about covering a chapter out of the book. So for anybody who hasn't read it yet, I'm currently rereading it. I listened to it on Audible, and I think it's one of those books that Ed's great with Audibles. I'm good at knocking out books on Audible, but the retention level isn't there. And there's so many exercises associated with the book that I highly recommend everybody buys a physical copy of it instead of Audible. Now, if you do get Audible, they'll give you a website link that you can go and download the exercises themselves. And Ron and I had a private chat outside of here where I asked, what's the biggest thing with people about Book Yourself Solid? And she's like, the exercises. If you actually do the exercises, you can immediately implement them into your business. But if it's a book that you're reading just for advice and you don't do the exercises, you're kind of getting a third of what's in the book. You'll get knowledge, but it's really by defining who's your ideal client. What do you charge? What problem do you solve? How do you solve it? In the book, it's even about what's your elevator pitch, and they don't like that term. So what do they call it instead of the elevator pitch?
I don't think they have another name for it. I always say we're trying to kill the elevator pitch.
Right. I thought there was a new term that he had, like the Book Yourself
It's
Solid.
how you talk about yourself is really, I think that whole chapter is like how you tell people what you do. And really, it's all based on relationships. It's conversations. It's not talking at people. It's listening to what they want or what they need.
Right. And I just had reread this the other day. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking here about just simple things that I had to have a coach first tell me to do all these. But then, of course, it's in the book here. Things like what's your quality of service? What's your responsiveness level? What are your credentials? Do you need credentials? Yes or no? But what I liked is even before that, it was simple things. And you actually covered this, I think, 2 weeks ago in the course. But do you have a professional email address? Don't have a Gmail, don't have a Hotmail. If you got an AOL, you have other problems. If you're trying to sell a business, those little things that Ed and I learned over time. Have a quality business card. Do you have a website of your own? It doesn't matter if you're a 9-to-5 person or you have a storefront. You still should have a way when people Google you, are you there? Make sure your social profiles represent yourself. Have a professional headshot, not one that somebody took at you at the bar at 5 p.m. as your profile picture. So there's a lot of good stuff in the book that even if you're not trying to expand a big business, I think everyone should read the book.
Yeah, I agree. And I think nailing down, I think Ed, you talked about it, and most people don't know who their ideal client is, and you want to pretend that you can help everybody.
Yes.
And I can help anybody with a spine as a chiropractor, but that doesn't mean I want to.
Right.
Or they want me.
Right. I mean, it's the same in my business. You either love me or hate me. There's no in between. So, I mean, I'm not.
People love you?
Yeah, they actually do. My wife only. And I think my kids occasionally. But no, it's just
they need money.
Yeah. Don't they always? And that's the thing is you need to know who your client is. You can't go after. Yes, you can help everybody. I can do loans for everybody. I prefer working with veterans because we connect. We have that background that we connect in. I enjoy doing reverse mortgages because I'm helping people get their dignity back. Right. That's the whole purpose of that. I don't do any other reason. I don't do it just because people need, for the reverse mortgage, get your dignity back, or I don't help you because there's no other reason to do it. You have to go to your kids for money. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to be self-sufficient. But you got to know that stuff. And the basic stuff that you just talked about, Brian, where email addresses and all that, it's like, how do you not know this?
People email me, DM me. Yeah.
No, the biggest thing is you make the most money off the most mundane things that people should know is where the money is.
Right.
That they don't do.
I talk about
the easiest things.
Yeah.
When I get on those trainings and talk about some of those things, I'm like, do I even need to say this?
You'd be
sounds
surprised.
So
I've seen people with amazing websites that @gmail.com. I'm like, that website looks like it costs you $4,000 or $5,000 minimum, and you have a Gmail associated with it, and I get that business cards are going old school, but some people still like business cards. Everybody loves the QR code, and don't get me wrong, it's way easier because people will take action on the spot. That's the main reason to have a QR code. is people will text you, email you, do whatever. If they have your business card, you got about a 10% chance when they get home, they're going to remember who you are. That's how do you make your business card stand out when somebody gets home and they've got 50 of them. But I get QR codes. I actually put a QR code on my business cards so that they can do it right then and there or anytime they see it. But it is crazy to me how some people don't have the simplest of things,
Yeah.
So. And one thing I do appreciate about everybody here on the call is the way I met Ed is I went to an event. I signed up looking for self-improvement. The way I met you was going to an event looking for self-improvement. That's a way that a lot of people don't think. They think, oh, well, I'll just post to social media or I'll do videos. That's an important part. But are you getting out and are you meeting like-minded people? And it doesn't have to be that you paid to attend a seminar like the three of us did. Go to the events like you're hosting. What are other local events that you can go and meet other what I call cool kick-ass people that are like yourself? But a lot of people don't think that way. And a lot of it is 9 to 5 training is I work from 9 to 5. The rest of the time is me time. I don't do it. But if you look at successful people, yes, they put in the hours for the work, but they get out, they're spending extra hours networking, trying to do self-improvement, get themselves to be seen and heard. There's a lot of events that I'll go to just to hope to meet one person who can help expand my life.
He's lonely.
So when you go to those events, do you look at who's going to be there to know who you want to meet? That's my new thing is trying to figure out who I'm going to meet before I get there.
It's kind of like having your avatar. I hope to meet someone of this type because you don't always know who's going to go there. But I set the intention before I go. Like the event I went to last weekend, I knew the organizer. And I knew the quality of people he'd have in the room. And I was pleasantly surprised with making several new connections that will pay off. And one of the ones that paid off is I helped another speaker get her own a different stage through an organizer I know. So it wasn't just about what am I going to get, but I really liked her presentation, introduced her to someone in California that's going to invite them, or she already got invited to potentially speak at their event. So
I think that's important too, is making sure you're giving back to other people, right?
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I always like the givers, not the takers.
Yes. Well, if you're too transactional and you're only asking for money, you tend to chase people away, regardless of how long the relationship's been there.
Right. Well, that's one of my favorite lines from that book for the my social oak events. It says people don't like to be sold to, but they love to be invited.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons for the events. I don't even half the people at the events, they know I'm Dr. Ronda. Half of them don't even know what kind of doctor I am. I don't even really talk about it when we're there unless they ask me.
What about, since you are known in the other community for the Ash Tiptoe, you want to explain what that is?
Always have something to invite people to. So it goes back to having a low barrier entry to have them meet you. My events are typically free because we've gotten so big. Ours will sometimes have a low fee involved because I don't have locations. We don't make any money on these events. Social Oak does not make money on them as Social Oak. As business owners, we get business out of them. So we provide the alcohol. We do Prosecco and White Claws and charcuterie boards at every event.
It's a female event.
Ours are. So the guy events have bourbon. And I keep saying I want to go to the guy events, but I won't let any guys at my event. They let me go to the very first one, and it was a bourbon tasting.
Well,
and they have really good bourbon.
This day and age, there's probably a lot more guys that want the White Claw.
Not guys. Those are not considered guys.
I always see those.
I'll let them know.
Yeah. Well, I always see those memes that say, my generation grew up drinking this. Your generation drinks White Claw. We're not the same.
No,
there was a great comedian who said our generation would Red Bull and vodka in the field so you could White Claw at the park. We troubleshot all the other stuff.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And
so
Ronda,
the events are go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll do it after.
I think the events it's interesting because you said guys couldn't do that. I think, Ed, did you say that at the beginning? Guys wouldn't do that? Yeah,
well, no, I said we would get in trouble if we do a total guy event in this day and age sometimes.
Oh, I thought you meant we'd get in trouble for having 200 women in a room, and I was gonna be okay with it.
Okay,
No,
funny story. One
it's
guy
only okay.
signed
It's
up.
only okay for other people to say, say this is only for female or this is only for this. You guys get into trouble for that. We do cigar clubs, and the only way to get around not being able to invite, so where women can't come, we have to do a nonprofit. So
wait, you have to do it. You have to do a nonprofit so that you can't.
if you
invite
do a
women?
nonprofit, then you can't get into trouble
Oh, like your
He's saying
group
this
is a
day and age with
nonprofit.
society.
with the
Right.
society the
Right.
way it
Yeah.
is. We can't restrict women from our stuff, but women can restrict us from their stuff, and it's okay.
That's interesting. I've not run into that problem yet. So it's
Yet.
interesting that you say that yet. I say yet because I only have 4 guys groups. But I think for the guys in Detroit, it was easy because we already had the girl group. And what was
Mhm.
happening is business owners were asking, or people were asking, like, why don't you have a guy one? I'm like, because I'm not a guy. Like, I can't have a guy group. Like, that would be weird. Although great. I mean, newly single, I'm in. But I can't have a guy event as a female. So I had to find, and I didn't know if it was weird for guys to get together. But like you said, you have cigar clubs, you have golf league,
Mhm.
guys do the same things. They just don't want to label it as a guy event. You have to make it a certain night.
Well, we
We
just
just
got
need
into
more
we just got
food
into
in
trouble for
Detroit.
years and years. We had our Rotary I'm in Rotary. I'm the president of Rotary this year. Rotary was all no women, and then women came in, and thank God, because now we get everything done because women are there. And the issue is we could never, we can't go back, but what other people can say, we just don't women. Now what you need to do is create a single group.
So one of the girls said that social oak mingles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I want
That
to
would
be
be the only
responsible
one
for
guys and
dating.
girls can come to, and they have to prove they're single.
But
Yeah.
they tried that with Advents and Adventures, and the problem is once people within the groups hook up, if it doesn't work out, then you lose 1 to 2 members. so what you need is a single people to set up your friends with it, right? So you need a friends of single people that show up to your event and go, I got a single friend, and then they can bring a single friend, and then if it doesn't work out, you still have your core members.
Oh, now we're okay. I'm my wheels are spinning because I'm
Yes.
No, what
this
I
has
was
been
saying
brought
though
up
here,
before.
yeah, what I was saying is you could have still the 2 separate groups,
Mhm.
and then you have a once in a while a single group, and then
That's true.
if they hook up and they don't get together, they don't have to come anymore, but they're still in the other group.
Yeah.
That's
So we talked about
keep us
doing like a joint group, but I
with
think
singles only.
not for singling, but yes, but maybe do the singles only.
Yeah.
That would be okay. I'm
That
gonna
way you
talk
don't
to
lose
Social Oak.
anybody. You don't lose anybody.
Right. Social Oak Rochester. She's also single and she told me to do it. So maybe she'll help me do it.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll see. I think I don't know that I want to get into the whole dating scene of hooking other people up and being responsible for all that.
No.
No,
Especially not if you're providing the alcohol.
no.
Right. And like I don't know that those are all going to be my ideal clients. Because again, that's what it goes back to for these events for me, right? Is
Mhm.
making sure like if I'm going to put time, effort, and energy into it, I mean, I enjoy it. I joke when I started it, everybody said, well, what made you start it? I said, there were so many reasons. One, I was leaving my husband and nobody knew it at the time. So I created a party every month full of women to hang out with instead of going to the local bar. Because at my age, that's not attractive. So I don't want to hang out at the bar every Thursday night, but I can hang out with a group of women and have drinks every Thursday night. So I think that's the other thing is I want to make sure that these events are my ideal client. You do the mingles one.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, though. Like going back to older movies, American Pie, everybody would go to Stifler's party, but nobody wanted to hang out with Stifler. So what you're trying to say is I want my ideal people there for the party, not just throw a party.
Correct. Yes. I want my ideal people there.
Yes.
So I just one question. What was the hardest thing about starting that group?
People.
You don't like people?
No, I love people. People is one, explaining what it is. I think that would be probably the hardest thing. And then 2, I started the events on my own and then brought my gang of 5 in and explaining to them, especially like as a business owner, everything goes back to networking and selling ourselves. And that's not what these events are for. We don't actually sell ourselves at all.
Did you explain earlier what the gang of 5 is?
So the gang of 5, I think I did at the beginning. So the gang of 5 is other business owners. For mine, it's other female business owners. But in general, it's other business owners that have the exact same ideal client. So in my gang of 5, one is a Beyond Juice. So it's a local franchise of organic juice and acai bowls and salads, because my patients were already going there. So if my patients were going there, their people should probably come see me. The other is an online, because I do moms and babies. She's an online personal trainer and holistic nutritionist. And another one is she does all of our eyebrows and eyelashes, because Ashley has her eyebrows and eyelashes done. And then the only one who didn't fit at first was Farm Bureau, but she was a regional manager of White House Black Market and does all kinds of women's events. And she has always marketed to women. So she's an insurance agent. So we all have the exact same ideal client. We all want the same person as our client. So when we invite people and our friends and our clients to these events, they're all the same type of person. Right. So I always joke with the gang of 5. It's like when you go as a business owner, and I think like this would be true with the two of you, when you would be assigned a group project in college, you would like crunch like, oh, they're going to get my A because I'm going to do all the work and turn it in, and everybody gets the A, right? Because you did the work. Your gang of 5 is all people who want to do the work. So you're actually only doing 20% of the work to get an event done.
So you wouldn't put a vegan with a steakhouse owner? So that wouldn't be a good.
If the vegan, well, I mean, if the vegan does eyelashes and her clients like to eat steak,
right?
Like, I mean, she doesn't have to eat the steak. They just have to have the same ideal client.
Right. And I'd said that in jest of, it doesn't have to be somebody who does exactly what you do. It's just, do they have an ideal client that you may share? So somebody who does vegan recipes and somebody who owns a steakhouse, well, the person who does the vegan recipes, they may have a following, but they're dating somebody who likes meat, or they could convince the steakhouse owner, hey, have good sides to go to. So it doesn't have to be a one-to-one direct correlation. I think some of the examples I've heard in the past are like, if you do eyelashes, do you also work with somebody who cuts hair? Obviously, I don't understand that whole concept, but it's people that they don't have to be in exactly what you do, but how can they complement your business in terms of, do you share customers in some form or fashion? Is that a fair way to say it?
Do you share the your ideal customer? Yes.
Right. Yeah. So you can have, like, as a chiropractor, people would think I would be with, especially with babies, like midwives, doulas, massage therapists. And I have those people in my network, but those are more of my referral partners who we refer back and forth. That doesn't mean that all of their ideal clients are my ideal clients.
Exactly. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, a doula was probably the best thing we ever had. And that was, a doula is like the person between you and the hospital, but they also coach you through the entire birthing process. We had one, and the two best things ever had during pregnancy was a doula, because there were a lot of things we didn't know about the hospitals and how to take care of things and what's the best method. And they're there with you at the very end, right? Literally when your baby's on the way. And then we had a night nurse for the first month, and that was huge. Because that was somebody, and it's her company paid for it through insurance. It was called 400 Hours of Mother's Help. And so we got sleep the first 6 weeks that we had kiddo, because they would come over at 8 o'clock at night. If the kiddo woke up, they'd bring the kiddo up, breastfeed, take the kid right back down. I wasn't the one breastfeeding, obviously, but she was. And we got sleep, and that made such a difference. So there are things that people don't necessarily know about that are worth paying for. Doula and a night nurse, if you can afford it, it's a game changer on those areas.
Yeah. I've never heard of a night nurse.
Oh,
why did I have a night nurse?
Yeah,
because you're not at the same level as Brian and as well.
It wasn't me. It was her company. The fact that they had to compete with, they were an international company and had to compete with Europe, where if you have a kid, you get to go on maternity leave for a year. And in the US, only gave 12 weeks. And then what they said is, okay, well, we'll offset it with this to help make your life easier during that 12 weeks. And it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like having a nanny.
You didn't have a night nurse, Ed?
No.
He wants one now, but that's a totally different story.
No, I'm thinking, you drink White Claw there, Brian?
No, I'm a bourbon guy. That's why I get along with Steve and Rhonda.
It was a joke.
I don't drink White Claws.
Yeah, I don't either.
Bourbon. Bourbon.
I drink bourbon.
Whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I met you, I think. And I don't know if we were drinking bourbon.
Oh, yeah. We were doing
I probably walked up to you.
Fountain Blue. Fountain Blue.
And Fountain Blue. Yes. But I think I met you before that in Texas.
You're correct. I swung by the Texas event because it was right by my house. I stopped by for one day and kind of said hi to people. And because y'all were so close to where I lived, we all met up at the local or at the hotel bar for a little bit. And I took some people around to the different bars in Dallas.
I think that's what it was. I think you were sitting behind me and I turned around and I'm like, okay, read my face.
Yes.
Because I'm super
Now, are you
shy.
coming? Speaking of which, are you coming to the one in March?
I am, but you said you're going to be gone.
Yeah, it's during my kiddos' spring break, so I won't be here. But I'll have to give you a list of places that have good old fashions while you're here. So
yes, I'll be there in
close
March,
to
and then
where
I have to come home to go to Punta Cana with 300 of my daughter's closest senior friends for their senior spring break.
Wow.
Do you know
That
what I'm
sounds
not
like a
going to
lot
be
of
drinking there?
vigilance, like no sleep, binoculars, having to, taser somebody,
Like,
maybe. I don't know.
Not looking for. It'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. So did we miss anything about what you do today?
There's a lot more, but that was good.
Well, and just so you guys know, she's on her lunch break while she's at her office doing this podcast with us today. So that's another one, is taking time to get yourself out there. So always say yes when an opportunity comes your way. I think it's something that also makes you, just from an outsider looking in, successful, because you didn't have to, when you were offered, hey, do you want to be a part of the coaching for BYS? Yes. Do you want to start these events? Yes. Do you want an old fashioned? Yes. I mean, you just say the yes and you figure things out. So we appreciate you literally in the middle of your day giving up your lunch break so you could help share this information with other people.
I do have a tattoo that says "do all the things."
Do all the things
in Latin.
I do everything that makes me uncomfortable. So
yeah, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not going to grow. Hanging out with Brian makes you uncomfortable. Is that what you just said?
It does. That's why we drink.
Yeah, and my old fashions have mezcal instead of bourbon.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Really? You do a mezcal old fashioned?
Ooh, if you've not had it's got to be good mezcal. But if you've not had a mezcal old fashioned, they're pretty good.
They're better than bourbon. Okay. So the problem is, I grew up in Colorado and California. My kids, as a kid, my parents gave us hot toddies, and it was the crappiest whiskey and that they could find. And still to this day, I can't. Every time I smell it, try to taste it, it just doesn't work for me. But tequila, mezcal, all that stuff works for me. So
there was a mezcal martini in Dallas where we met. That was amazing.
It's a mezcal. It's because, again, we're not going to get a hold of the tequila, but tequila comes from mezcal and all that. And we'll just leave it at that. If it's really good, it's smoky. It's got that right blend. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to try one. A mezcal old fashioned.
Yeah. I'll think if there's a place out here that does it, and I'll let you know. But how can everybody find you, Rhonda?
On social media, on Instagram, The Community Cultivator, the website, The Community Cultivator. If you want to check out a Social Oak event, you can look up Social Oak on Instagram. We also have a website just to kind of see what we do. There's a Social Oak Gents as well. If you start to search it in Instagram, there's about 25 of them that pop up. So you can see. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I know you got to get going here in a second so you can get back to practice. Thank you so much for joining us today, helping share with everyone here just how can they stand out? How can they be different? Like we said, you could have just stayed a chiropractor and just said, oh, I'll just put money into ads. But you took it a step further. You created the events. You created your group of 5. All these things help people stand out. And then you go and attend events to figure out what else can I learn and bring back to my practice. And that's one of the reasons, again, thank you for being here today. Ed, you want to take us out?
No, you're already doing it. Just finish it up.
All right. Well, Ed, thank you for joining us here today. Rhonda, thank you for joining us. And for everybody who's watching, go and support, look up Rhonda while she's here. And of course, you can always support us by subscribing to the YouTube channel. So with that, everybody have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.